Hello, guys and girls, and welcome to the Sunday afternoon chat as I travel down the highway trying to get back to Twin Eagle Ranch here on this incredibly great, beautiful Sunday afternoon. You know, in Oklahoma, and particularly in southern Oklahoma, which I'm in northeastern Oklahoma right now, trying to get back home from Sherry and Jack's house, but in southern Oklahoma, we have a spectacular Sunday almost every Sunday. Almost every one is spectacular. I think that God just loves southern Oklahoma more than he loves a lot of other places in the world. That's what I think for sure. But you know, one of the great things about today is we have no rain. We've had so much rain lately. It's been amazing. We had a lot of rain during May. We've got a lot of rain in June so far. We've only had a few days in June, but we had quite a little bit of rain during those few days. And we got quite a bit scheduled all the way out through the 20th. I mean, every day is like a 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60% chance every single day. So there's a shot for rain every day. Most of us are those thunderstorms that come up in the afternoon, and depending on where you are, the rain can be really, really dramatic. And also some tornadoes, the little naders running around, and most of them are not really bad tornadoes, but they can do some serious damage. And they have torn up some places. We've had them all around southeastern Oklahoma, or southern Oklahoma there where we live, and had one or two come by close on the ranch, but didn't do too much damage. And McAlester, Oklahoma, which is about an hour and a half due west of us, McAlester, Oklahoma had some fairly serious damage this last week, but nothing like the sulfur tornadoes from last year, but quite a little bit of damage has been around, mostly to trees and structures, and a lot of just barns and stuff in the fields. And you say, well, it's just a barn, but it's somebody's barn is pretty important to them, or they wouldn't have that barn there in the first place. So yeah, it's kind of bad when you get these tornadoes rolling around, and we've had them happening here, and we're probably going to have some more in the next couple of weeks. But do not stop praying for rain. Absolutely do not stop praying for rain. Well, we had a great appearance yesterday and a great time at the Family Fishing Fair at Pierre Marquette State Park near Grafton, Illinois. Grafton, Illinois, a beautiful little town right on the Illinois River. Chris and I both fished tournaments there. Chris fished a Bassingout tournament there and did really well in that Bassingout tournament. I fished a BASS tournament, and I didn't do all that great. I don't know if I made the money in that tournament. I can't remember if I did or not. I do remember I tore up a Ranger boat, completely totaled out a Ranger boat, so that wasn't too good a deal. And it was a pretty dangerous situation we were in when we did it, but we managed to get out of there by the skin of our teeth, I guess you'd say. And but we had a lot of fun there anyway. But we had a tremendous crowd there. We had some rain yesterday. My buddy Scott Idringhausen, that puts that tournament on, kind of ramrods that Family Fishing Day. That was the 36th annual Family Fishing Day, 36th annual. And that's just amazing to me. And we had a few thousand people there. I don't know how many thousand. I don't know if we had 5,000, but we might have had 3,000 people there. We had really big crowds, and I was there with Mountain Man, my buddy Tim Girardi from Duck Dynasty, and him and I were in a booth together, and we signed autographs just solidly from before 10 o'clock in the morning when it opened, and we were there obviously before 10 until I had to leave about 3:30 and go to the airport and catch an airplane. So many kids there, they caught trout, and they cleaned the trout for them. When they catch a trout in the trout pond, they clean the trout. They would fillet them out and cook them for them, and they'd eat the trout right there on the spot. So that was a pretty cool deal. They had a bluegill fishing pond. They had a lot of prizes. A lot of kids won tackle boxes and cane poles, which is great for a kid to win. You can't really grow up a kid without fishing with a cane pole and catching bluegill and brim and bullheads and catfish and everything you catch on a cane pole. They also had some prizes, some rod and reels, tackle boxes with lures in them, and all kinds of stuff, and lots of giveaway items. Camo the Clown was there. He has a tremendous show that he does. He is the only conservation clown in the country. Camo the Conservation Clown is what he calls himself. And a great guy, great friend. I've known him for many, many years, and he just does a tremendous job. Gave me a really beautiful bass sweatshirt with a bass on it. I can't wait till this fall to wear that thing and show y'all, because it's absolutely beautiful. I don't know where he got it, but he gave it to me, and it's my size, so it works out just perfectly. But we had a tremendous time there yesterday. It rained for about 3 days there in at Pierre Marquette State Park, and rained pretty heavily. And Scott was really concerned about that. He thought it might hold us down to 1,000 or 2,000 people, but it didn't rain. I told him, I said, well, I know a guy, and I know a guy, and I'll talk to that guy about holding the rain off at least until 3 o'clock when I was leaving. I actually left at 3:30, and wouldn't you know that it just sprinkled a little bit throughout the day is about all it did. For most of the day, it didn't rain at all, and it started sprinkling a little bit at right about 3 o'clock, right on the money. It started raining pretty hard, but it didn't rain too long here, just for a few minutes, and it dampened the crowd a little bit. A lot of the people went to their cars and went home, but a lot of them just stayed out there, and those kids just kept fishing and going through that trout pond, going through that bluegill pond, and most of them finished station after station after station. They had a lot of great sponsors there that pay for that event, and the Illinois DNR puts it on. It's just a tremendous event, and Tim and I had a lot of fun visiting with the kids, visiting with the adults, and we just had a blast. I had a really great situation happen. I had a really beautiful young lady come up, and she said, I met you once before, but I don't remember much about it. I said, you don't remember? She said, no, and she showed me a picture of her daddy holding a little baby in a little pink blanket. The little baby was just looked like a few weeks old, and that was 34 years ago. 34 years ago when we were there fishing a BASS tournament on that Illinois River, and she had a picture taken with me then. I got another picture taken with her dad and her, and just absolutely incredible when you see things like that, and people care enough to come back and show you that picture and visit with you. And they had that picture in a frame. He said that's hung on his office wall all those 34 years. And of course he's got one of his favorites. Well, he actually said his favorite fisherman, but I didn't want to brag, but he said his favorite fisherman, and obviously his favorite daughter there, and so just absolutely fantastic picture. But we had a great time visiting with all the kids, and just a beautiful time. Suzanne was there helping us with Tim Girardi with Duck Dynasty, and we just had a great time. We had a great time. They had some autographed pictures for us to sign. We signed bunches and bunches and bunches of them. Signed a lot of hats, signed backpacks, signed a lot, all kinds of stuff. Tennis shoes, just about everything bad you can sign. The night before, when we got there, we stopped and got a little grab bite to eat right there in Grafton before everybody closed, and actually signed a couple fishing lures in there, so that was a lot of fun. But still had the hooks on them too, by the way. But what a great event. Pat on the back to the Illinois DNR, Department of Natural Resources. 36th annual Family Fishing Fair. It is a tremendous success, even though the forecast was bad, but the weather held off because I know a guy. And it was a great event. The next event we got coming up is this coming Sunday, Father's Day, over at the brand new church in Farmington, Arkansas, and they have a big special Father's Day event planned. I'll be speaking at both the 9:30 and the 11 o'clock services. You're perfectly welcome to come to both services. We have a catfish fry after that 11 o'clock service. Catfish fry is $15 a person. Let them know ahead of time. Pre-register for that catfish fry, because they need to know how much fish they need to catch and cook. And so, but they got the world's biggest pile of bacon. The world's biggest pile of bacon. That's Razorback country there around Farmington, Arkansas, and all you can eat bacon. And they've got all kinds of vendors out there. They got a father-son fishing deal. I assume that father-daughter can fish as well. But it's just an absolutely fantastic event. They've got leather goods, they've got Razorback merchandise, they've just got all kinds of things going on. And you're perfectly welcome to attend both the 9:30 and the 11 o'clock service. Between services, I imagine I'll be out there visiting with y'all. We will bring some of our Catch a Better Life and perhaps the Catch of the Day books over there in case y'all want to get those signed. We'll have those at less than what we sell them on the internet, less than the retail price. Obviously, we always do that at places where I speak, and so we'll be happy to personalize them, autograph them. What a great Father's Day gift for your father. What a great Father's Day gift to give a young father that might be your son, because young fathers really need what's in God's Word every single day. And if they just take that one scripture a day, they'll be a better dad, they'll be a better husband, and they'll be a better son to you as well. So what a great Father's Day gift is pick up one of those or more of them for Father's Day, and you can do that over at the brand new church in Farmington, Arkansas on Father's Day. That's a incredibly great church, holds 1,500 people. We packed that church out a couple months ago over there. Jace Robinson and I was in a great big giant men's event, outdoor men's event. It was a tremendous event. And they sold that event out quite a bit before the actual event happened, and we just had so much fun over there. And so looking forward to getting back over there and spending Father's Day. My daughter Sherry and my son Jamie will be with me, so this is pretty nice. I didn't know if they would or not because they are so active in their own church, which is a church that I was a deacon at for a long time, Keys Baptist Church. They're on Lake Tenkiller. But they have both agreed to go over there with me for Father's Day. I don't think my granddaughter Jordan will go because she does play the drums in the praise band there at Keys, and she hasn't committed whether she'll go with me or not. Maybe I can talk them into letting her play the drums one song over there at Brand New Church. They've got a great drummer. They've got a great praise band over there. If you love praise music and you love to get your hands in the air and worship God, man, I'm telling you, they're going to have 2 great services over there. Father's Day at Farmington, the Brand New Church over there. It's just an amazing church, and they've got a great praise band. I worshiped over there at that night that Jace Robinson and I was there, and it was a great worship service. I'm looking forward to 2 worship services. The good thing about having a service at 9:30 and 11 is you get to hear that praise band twice. And I don't know if they do the same songs both times. Probably not. Even if they do, it's going to be great as well. But we're looking forward to it. So if you're anywhere within an hour or 2 or 3 hours, even if you're over in Oklahoma, that's just across the Arkansas line into Arkansas. If you're within an hour, 2 or 3 hours, well, come on over there to Farmington, to the Brand New Church. Father's Day. What a great place to take your father on church on Father's Day. That's just like about the greatest place in the world, particularly if your dad carried you to church pretty much all your life, like my dad did me. And it's just a great place to take your father on his Father's Day to the Brand New Church there in Farmington. Like I said, we had a great day over there in Illinois at Pierre Marquette State Park. That was absolutely fantastic. I want to tell you the experience that I had because this is really something. This is 2 flights in a row, 2 trips in a row where I basically was getting stuck in the airport. I got stuck in the airport on a trip about 10 days ago, a couple weeks ago, whenever it was. Had to spend the night in the airport, and it's terrible to have to spend the night in the airport because it's really cold in those airports. They got the air conditioning down so low, and when all the people leave, except all the people that was not able to make their connections and had to spend the night in the airport. That happened to me again last night. But let me tell you, God got involved in that, and let me tell you what happens when you involve God in the little affairs in your life. And you might think that you serve a God that's only there for the big problems you have, the big sicknesses, the big problems with death, the big problems with family problems, the big problems at work, you get fired, or all kinds of things. You think God is there for those big problems, and He is. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But God wants to be involved in your everyday problems as well. A problem of getting on an airplane we was actually supposed to get on that airplane at 5:25. We actually were going to be about, the plane was going to take off at 5:25. And they were about 45 minutes late, going to take off at 6:15, which is not too bad. We were flying from St. Louis to Chicago to Tulsa. Going to get back into Tulsa about 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, get back down to Sherry's house and in bed with Chris probably around 1 o'clock or so. And But once we got on the airplane, everybody sat down. They informed us that there was some little malfunction that they had, and they had no service people for that particular airline there in St. Louis. All their service people were in Chicago, so they had to use another service department or service crew that came from somewhere. Anyway, it took them about 45 minutes or an hour to get there. So it became obvious really after about an hour and a half that we were not going to make our connections in Chicago. And so I sort of, on top of that, I'd broken my charger to my iPhone, the little plug-in where you stick it into the iPhone, that little tab breaks off sometime after you've had a phone for years and years and years, which I have. Seemed like they'd update me to a phone sometime or another, but AT&T's not too good about doing that. And so I got this old antique iPhone that I use, but the charger broke, and so I was really low on television, or telephone time, I had almost no power at all on my telephone, and so I had it on low power mode, trying to conserve it and get it by as long as it could. I was hoping somebody was sitting beside me on the airplane that had an iPhone charger. They would let me borrow that charger for about 15, 20 minutes, at least get a little bit more juice in there so I could get back home. But at any rate, time went by. I finally, I'd use my phone and text occasionally. My daughter Sherry's in Cooperstown, New York this weekend, and so she was not at home, but she said, you're either going to spend the night in the airport, Dad, or just stay in St. Louis and catch a plane out of St. Louis in the morning direct to Tulsa. You can do that, or drive. And it's only about 350 miles back to Sherry's house. And of course, my truck was in Tulsa, so I wasn't going to Sherry's house so I rented a car and drove to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and checked my rent car in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Got in my truck and got home. I actually got home around 3:30, in bed by about 4:30 this morning. And I was going to get there about 12:30 and in bed about 1 o'clock probably, or 1:30. And so I really only lost 3 hours in the whole thing because I got God involved in my little problems. And you think God's not concerned about whether you spend the night in the airport, a cold airport? Well, God is concerned. You think God is not concerned about little problems you have in your life that are just sort of inconveniences and things that you don't like? But if you'll just stay calm and cool and talk to God about things that's going on, whether they're big things or little things in your life, and ask Him to solve those problems for you. Ask Him to take care of those problems. You will be amazed. You will be surprised at how many times God does exactly that. That's right, exactly that. He takes care of those problems. I never did get upset. I never did get angry at anybody, even the guy at going through the security check there in St. Louis. Told me I had to take my shoes off, and I said, "Well, I'm 81." And he said, "We got to have a blue card." And I said, "Well, nobody told me about a blue card. I never had a blue card." He said, "Well, you got to go through TSA. You had to be TSA approved to leave your shoes on." And I said, "Well, I'm not TSA approved. I'm just regular checking through." The guy told me I didn't have to take my shoes off, and you quit taking your shoes off when you go through security at the airport when you're 75. But obviously that guy did not know about that rule, and it probably his first day on the job or something. But I was nice to him, and I said, "I don't mind taking my shoes off. I don't have holes in my socks." I was hoping I didn't when I took my shoes off after I said that, and sure enough, I did not have holes in my socks, so that was kind of cool. And went through the regular screening system, which is fine. I don't mind it at all. I have no problem bending over and putting my shoes back on. So although it's not as easy as it used to be, I understand why they allow you to leave your shoes on if you're 75 years or older. And he said, "Are you over 75?" And I said, 81. So that's quite a ways over. And but I did take my shoes off. But again, I was just smiled and pleasant with him and told him, "No problem. I do not mind going through, taking my shoes off. It's not a big deal." And so then as my phone ran down, I didn't have a printed boarding pass, so I asked the guy at the counter if he would print me a boarding pass for Chicago, because my phone might be dead by the time I got to Chicago and I didn't have my boarding pass. And he said, well, he didn't have time to do that right then, that I could go over to another counter and print one through a machine. And I said, that's all right, I'll just try to have them printed in Chicago if I can. And so I didn't worry about that either. Just wasn't really too concerned about anything. I just thought we've had a great day, a fantastic day at Pierre Marquette State Park, and I'm not going to let all these little distractions and problems get in my way. And I just was happy and thanked him, and I said, that's okay, no problem. And do you know the amazing thing? One of those guys at the counter, and that was United Airlines, by the way. I didn't mention the airlines because I didn't want to say anything bad about them, but it wasn't their fault that the plane was late or broke down or whatever caused it to not be able to do. I finally kept getting deals during the night come in, and I think they finally flew that plane at 10:30, so I definitely would have had to stay in Chicago had I not got to rent a car and driven it to Tulsa. So, and all in all, in the whole thing, I was only about 3 hours late. So get in bed about 4:45, and got up at 7:30. We had a 9:30 service at Keys Baptist Church this morning. It's a normal day that they go to the lake and have a church service. With all the rain and storms around, they did not have the service at the lake. They had it there at the church, and wouldn't you know, it was just beautiful outside. It's been a great day, but they had to make a decision with all the storms running around. They decided to have it at church, but went to the 9:30 church service with my kids and Jamie and Mandy and Sherry, and our Jordan, and just had a great time, fantastic time in church. And Aunt Lou was there, and so it was just a good time in church. So Chris and I are headed back to the ranch right now. We've got folks coming in this week. I've got a friend of mine, Bobby Mann, and another man coming in that actually has developed a new product that I'm going to be probably helping them promote a little bit. It's just the simplest little product in the world, and I can't believe somebody hadn't thought of it before, but it's something everybody needs to have in their boat, needs to have in their house, needs to have in a first aid kit if they got a first aid kit around, two or three of them as a matter of fact. It's called a washout, and it's actually if you get something in your eye, anything in your eye, a particle of dirt, or if you're doing carpentry work, a little piece of wood flies up and gets in your eye, or you're a mechanic and you're working under a car and a little piece of grease or dirt or something gets in your eye, and you simply screw this little washout, and they're just little plastic deals. They're very inexpensive, and you screw it on a water bottle, and just turn it up and squeeze the water bottle a little bit. It's got holes in there, and it rinses your eye out. And you can do it anywhere you got a water bottle. It's just absolutely fantastic, and it's something that I'm going to have in the glove box of all my vehicles, have in the glove box of all my boats, and certainly put one in all the first aid kits we've got. A first aid kit is something that everybody has pretty much, and everybody needs, and you hope you never have to use it. It's like insurance. We pay several $1,000s a month for insurance, and we hope you don't ever have to use any of it. And it seems like when we do, we have to fight them about a claim. But anyway, that's just the par for the course. But anyway, the man went over and printed that boarding pass for me and brought it to me as I was standing over there. It sure was nice of him to do that. So that was one guy was too busy, but the other guy was working hard to take care of me. Turned out I never got made to Chicago. Didn't need a boarding pass at all either on my phone. My phone went completely dead. I actually stopped and bought another charger, $15 charger cord, 10-foot charger cord. That's all they had. And I bought a 10-foot charger cord that would fit USB-C, which is what all the iPhones are, been for the last several years, is USB-C cords. And wouldn't you know that the 2025 vehicle that I rented, I won't mention the brand because, again, I don't want to say anything negative about any brand out there, but it was a very nice car. I had a great ride in it. It took me forever to learn how to use everything on there, but did not have any charge ports for USB-C. And I believe that iPhones are the most popular phones in America, maybe the most popular phones in the whole world. I know they're the most popular phones in America, more iPhones than any. And for the last several years, they've been using USB-C, and yet it was a foreign car. It wasn't an American-made car. It was a foreign brand. But anyway, it did not have a USB-C port. And so my plug-in that I bought, I even took my phone inside and made sure, and my charger plug, my round block that come with that phone, I took that in with them to make sure that everything would plug up right on both ends, and they did. And then once I got back in my rental car and took off down the highway, I couldn't get it plugged in. So, but I got a brand new, I need a cord anyway, so I got a brand new 10-foot cord because the other one broke, and on my original iPhone cord. But it's several years old, so it's about time it broke. And but the other one works fine, and I plugged it in as soon as I got home at 3:30. I plugged in actually when I went to bed about 4:30, and charged my phone up good, and we're in good shape. But what an eventful weekend we had, taking Chris over to Sherry's on a Friday, or Thursday, actually on a Thursday, spending the night there, and flying to St. Louis on Friday, working there at the Family Fishing Fair, 36th Annual Family Fishing Fair at Pierre Marquette State Park there in Illinois, and then missing the wonderful deal of spending the night in either the St. Louis or the Chicago airport, getting back to the ranch and being able to get back. Also, the other thing, if I had to spend the night there, I was going to miss a great church service. So it all worked out well, and God's in it. God was in it. God was right in the middle of all of it. So guys and girls, the fish are biting right now. We're having all these rainstorms and thunderstorms. Just be careful out there on the water. But all of those fronts running in and out causes a really, really good bite right in front of those fronts. So the fish are biting just about everywhere. BASS is on Lake Tenkiller this coming week. The tournament, I guess they might start practicing today or tomorrow. I don't know when they practice on that. So the Bass Elite there, I'll probably be on some of their programming If I can get back over there Friday, might be go down and visit with them some on Saturday and be with some of them there during the weigh-in or something. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. They will have a blast on 10 Killer. It's flooded up in the bushes. Everybody's going to catch a limit of fish. Everybody's going to catch a limit of fish. And then we'll be at brand new church on Sunday, Father's Day. Y'all come see us. Y'all come see us. It's going to be a packed church, a lot of fun. Praise bands are absolutely outstanding there. Fish lucky, and remember, I sure do love you.